Instagram Reels have been pushed extremely hard lately to compete with platforms like TikTok and even YouTube Shorts. People have seen massive success and organic reach on Instagram compared to what they used to be able to do with just photos. If you're looking for a way to take advantage of this and create stunning Reels, this is the video for you. When filming video, people always go ahead and assume that the camera is the most important part to make a very good looking video, and that's just not really 100% accurate. Sound and lighting make up most of the difference when it comes to a beautiful image, and a lot of people just don't understand this. I didn't understand it until I got into it. I went and spent $5,000 on a camera, and I was like, why do my videos still look like shit? I'm gonna be talking about how you can create videos from a low budget to a medium budget to a high budget. I'm really trying to tailor this video to everybody. Sometimes I become a little tone deaf because I'm in the video world, and these things are just, things that I need for my business. Audio. So the first thing that we're gonna talk about is the lower end budget, and then I'm gonna work my way up to what I use. So with audio, we wanna get the microphone fairly close to our mouth. This microphone's maybe a foot away from me, so we don't wanna be right up in it, so it's like ASMR. But we do wanna be somewhat close, because if I keep going far away, the audio quality is just gonna start to dissipate. So we want to start by trying to figure out a way to get a microphone closer to our mouth, because if I have my phone or my camera or whatever it is on that tripod, it's gonna be too far away for the internal camera to really pick up my audio nicely. Now, we don't need an expensive microphone. We could use something like an iPhone. This is what an iPhone sounds like right next to my mouth. Now, it's not gonna sound as good as this expensive microphone going into my expensive camera, but it's gonna be a lot better than if I were to have this phone that far away from my camera. Okay, so what I did here is I set up my phone so that it's about the same distance away from the camera, and this is what it sounds like sitting down. So the microphone's like obstructed by what it's sitting on. It's just not gonna sound good this far away. What you could also do is get another iPhone somehow. You could use your iPhone as the main camera, and then you could use their iPhone to talk into, or you could use the iPhone microphone headphone things that come with it and hold it a little bit away. You could also just use your iPhone and get like an extension cable for that microphone and have it right here. And that's fairly inexpensive, and you're rocking and rolling. So the second option is you can buy an affordable microphone. Now, I have an example of some stuff that I have here. You don't really need to purchase anything. Your iPhone is gonna be fine, but I wanna give options to people that wanna improve it a little bit better. This is gonna improve it quite a bit. So the first thing here is this Rode Video Micro. This is an amazing microphone, but you're gonna need to record it into something somehow. This comes with a little fuzzy microphone and a stand and stuff. So this is a really great affordable option. I think these are around $60. The price may have changed. There's other options similar to this that they'll link below. They plug right into your Lightning port into your iPhone. So that's an option. This is the Rode Video Mic NTG. This is an amazing microphone. It has a ton of different ways to use it. This is expensive though. I think it's over $300. You can use this as like a podcasting mic or something as well, because it has a USB input that you can charge it with and use it in your computer. And the last option is just lavalier mics. There's different lavalier mics that you can buy that actually that'll sync up their wireless and they'll connect to your iPhone. I'll link some options down below as well that I recommend. I don't have any, and I honestly personally haven't used any, but I have used the Ceremonic Blink system that has a 3.5mm jack. There's a ton of lavalier mics nowadays, and I don't love lavalier mics for professional work. I prefer shotguns, but sometimes they work well. And for YouTube stuff, I'm totally fine with lavalier mics, especially if you're moving around. They're amazing. Okay, the last setup is something like I'm using here. This is the Rode NTG5. It is an XLR microphone, and it needs phantom power. So it needs power from some type of recorder, power the microphone to let it pick up the audio signals that it picks up. This is the high end of the option. If you want the best audio, you're gonna get something like this or a Shure SM7B. This just sounds amazing. I could plug this straight into my Sony FX6. It has phantom power and XLR inputs because it's a professional cinema camera. You could also buy something like a Zoom recorder to have an XLR microphone go into there. That supplies phantom power, and you could record right into that recorder and then still use your iPhone if you really wanted to. So there's a lot of different options. I know I'm giving a vast budget range here. A lot of people think it is always just the camera that makes a really nice image, but I want to prove to you here that we can replicate a really nice image without actually buying a $5,000, $8,000 camera. We just want to use lighting. Now, lighting is one of the most important things when it it comes to video and creating that image. So the cheapest option is to use a window or the great outdoors. Natural light is free, but it's not very reliable and predictable. You could use a window and you can just put your face next to it and try and get some Rembrandt lighting, or have the lighting come face on. The best times to film would be not in the afternoon, you know, kind of morning and nighttime before the sun sets and when the sun, a bit after the sun rises. That's free. The other thing you could do is put a piece of diffusion layer on your window so that you get a nice soft light, so it's not a really harsh, contrasty light. I've also seen people use their computer monitors with just a white background. That'll give you enough light for a key light. So now the next option is a cheap light. You can see behind me here, I have this, I think it's a Yuangu something. That was my first key light. I purchased that when I got into video because I realized for interview stuff, I need a key light. Okay, so this is what it looks like obviously in my room right now without any key light on. We have, you know, a very moody, harsh key light. Now, this is really harsh light because it's just LEDs straight to my face. There's barely any diffusion on it. And you could kind of have it front on like this or get like a side angle, and that looks good. These types of lights you could buy soft boxes for that are fairly inexpensive. So you can look around at different options. I'll try and find some to link below. So the next option on the higher end of the budget is a COB light with a softbox on it and then some type of stand to hold that up. So right now I am using a very inexpensive light, the Godox SL60W, and it's basically a daylight bright 60 watt, very affordable light. It's not built amazingly, but it's held up for like 2-3 years. Quality of the light that you actually get from it is very good for the price. I think it's under $200. If you're in the US, it's probably cheaper. And then you just got to buy an affordable softbox. You could probably find a newer softbox from $60 to $100. The bigger the softbox, the better diffusion that you're going to have, and the more diffusion layers inside, the better diffusion you're going to have as well. For a light stand, you could probably find something around $100 or less than $100. I have an Aperture 300D, which I usually don't use for YouTube videos because I just keep this light as my setup light. I also have a Godox VL150, which is an amazing light as well. So you could get more light if you need it. If this was like, if we were trying to have a bright background or shoot into windows or something like that, that's when you want a really high key light so that you could bring down your exposure on the outside and then bring up your exposure on the face to match it. But for things like this, just film in a dark room or something like this and you'll be fine. So let's talk about cameras, because that's what everybody is always interested in. And I really don't want to talk about cameras that much because I think for what most people are making reels for, it doesn't make sense to go out and buy a camera. Use your iPhone, use what you have, and if you want to upgrade that quality, then look at a camera. First buy a light, first buy a microphone, see how you feel with that quality, learn how to use that equipment, and then buy a camera. Unless you're doing professional video work and charging money for it, I really think you can use your iPhone. Once you do that, you could look at something like a point and shoot camera, and then you could work your way up. If you really want to get into photo and video, then I get the point of investing in a really good camera, but just make sure you invest in this stuff first and then get the camera later. Buy a really good mirrorless camera that's going to last you a long time if you want to get into this and invest in it. Get a Sony a7S III, get a Sony a7 IV. The one thing that you do want to do though, if you do buy a camera, is get a mount where you can mount it vertically so you could create your reels vertically and use the full width of that sensor. Right now, if I create a reel, I have to crop in like this much and it just sucks. It's stupid. With all these things in place, you are ready to start creating content. If you guys are interested in this type of video, feel free to subscribe. If you want to see a video that I made about export settings in Reels, please be sure to check that out. So stay tuned for that. I really appreciate you watching and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.